You are living on temporary ground. Right now, as you watch this, over 600 million people live within 10 meters of sea level. The ports that feed you, the cities that power the global economy, the undersea cables that carry your messages across oceans, all built at the water's edge. 12,000 years ago, that same decision erased entire human worlds. Not symbolically, physically. Cities, hunting grounds, trade routes, swallowed, buried beneath hundreds of feet of ocean. Forgotten so completely that for centuries we didn't even realize they were missing. And here's the part that should keep you awake tonight. The same force that ended their world is active again. If thriving societies could vanish when the Ice Age ended, intelligent, organized, adaptive, what makes you certain ours can't? This isn't ancient trivia, it's rehearsal. If we misunderstand what happened when the ice melted, we misunderstand what's happening now. The secrets of our past are the only map we have for the future. Subscribe to Chronopedia to keep digging. At the height of the last ice age, the planet looked nothing like your map. Sea levels were more than 300 feet lower than today. That's not a minor adjustment, that's a different Earth. Britain was not an island, it was connected to mainland Europe by a vast expanse of plains now known as Doggerland. Southeast Asia was not fragmented into islands, it was one massive subcontinent called Sundaland. The Persian Gulf was dry land, the North Sea was forest. Where did humans build when given options? Near water, always near water. Food security, trade access, fertile soil, movement. If you were alive 15,000 years ago, you wouldn't settle far inland unless forced. You would build on the coast. So they did, for thousands of years. Then the ice began to collapse. The end of the Ice Age was not a gentle thaw. Ice sheets covering North America and Northern Europe destabilized. Glaciers fractured. Meltwater surged into oceans. Sea levels did not rise smoothly. They rose in pulses. Some periods saw dramatic increases within a few generations. Imagine being born into stability. Your grandparents hunted across open plains that stretched for miles beyond today's shoreline. Your parents noticed marshland forming. You grow up watching the sea creep closer each year. At first, it's manageable. You relocate a settlement slightly uphill. You rebuild fishing infrastructure. You adapt. Humans are excellent at adaptation, but adaptation has limits, and water does not negotiate. Doggerland Microstory. Under the North Sea lies Doggerland. Today, it's cold, dark water between the United Kingdom and mainland Europe, but 10,000 years ago, it was alive. Rivers carved through forests, herds migrated across grasslands, and people hunted, gathered, and traded. This was not empty wilderness, this was homeland. Imagine a lone fisherman walking along a riverbank. He sets woven traps for salmon, listens to the wind in the tall grasses. Over decades, the river rises inch by inch. One morning, he finds his settlement partially submerged. He must move. Everything he's built, gone in a single tide. His grandchildren never see these fields, only the new coastlines. Fishermen in the 20th century pulled artifacts from their nets, flint tools, antlers, bones with human cuts, fragments of skulls, evidence of a vanished civilization. As sea levels rose, Doggerland shrank from a vast plain to scattered islands. Then came the Storegga Slide, a massive underwater landslide off Norway, triggering a tsunami that likely devastated what remained. Imagine surviving centuries of slow environmental pressure only to face a catastrophic wave that finishes everything. Not with fire, with water, and then silence. Atlit Yam microstory. Off the coast of Israel lies Atlit Yam, a Neolithic village now underwater, complete with stone houses and a well. Picture a family living there, stone houses lining a fresh water spring, children playing near walls adorned with carvings, traders arriving with shells from the Mediterranean. Over years, the sea encroaches slowly. The village's well begins to fill with salt water. People abandon homes carefully, carrying stories, seeds, and tools inland. Generations later, these submerged stones whisper of human ingenuity and loss. Embattled by the encroaching water, these people did not vanish into myth, they moved. Doggerland is not alone. Off India, sonar surveys in the Gulf of Combat have revealed submerged structures suggesting organized settlement older than previously assumed. Near Japan, the Yonaguni Monument rests beneath the sea, massive geometric formations still debated by researchers. Different continents, same pattern: coastal habitation, submergence, erasure. Pause for a moment. What if everything you think about human progress is upside down? What if the beginning of civilization you've been taught is actually a relocation story, a second act written after entire coastal societies drowned? And if they could vanish, how safe is your own world at the edge of the sea? For generations, we were told civilization began around 6,000 years ago in river valleys, particularly in Mesopotamia. Agriculture, cities, writing. But humans did not suddenly become intelligent in 4000 BCE. By 40,000 years ago, they were producing symbolic cave art. By 60,000 years ago, they had migrated across continents. They navigated open seas. They organized socially. So why assume they ignored the most fertile, resource-rich coastal plains on Earth during the Ice Age? If coastal civilizations existed and were submerged, then civilization did not begin in river valleys. It relocated there. And that changes everything. More than 40% of humanity lives near coastlines today. Megacities, financial centers, industrial hubs. We have built our global civilization exactly where ancient civilizations likely stood, at the edge, because the edge is profitable. But the edge moves. During the end of the Ice Age, global sea levels rose more than 400 feet, not overnight, but decisively. There were centuries where sea levels rose several meters. That is enough to destabilize infrastructure, enough to trigger migration, enough to reshape politics. Ancient people experienced climate change not as statistics, but as relocation, as loss, as watching sacred spaces disappear. Think in systems. When coastal farmland salts over, food supply shifts. When fresh water sources are compromised, settlements move. When settlements move, they collide with other groups. When groups collide, cultures merge or compete. Environmental change becomes social change. Social change becomes political change. This is how civilizations transform. Not because people are weak, but because geography moves. Flood stories exist across cultures worldwide. The Epic of Gilgamesh, the biblical Noah, ancient Hindu deluge accounts, indigenous flood traditions in the Americas and Australia, separated by oceans, separated by millennia, yet echoing similar themes. Perhaps coincidence, or perhaps memory. When coastlines disappear, survivors encode trauma into narrative. Story outlives stone. And if those stories reflect real environmental transitions at the end of the Ice Age, the mythic flood is not fantasy, it's compression. Generations of rising seas condensed into legend. We believe technology protects us. It does, to a point. But complexity increases vulnerability. Ancient societies relied on fisheries and local trade. We rely on global supply chains, integrated power grids, undersea data cables, financial markets. If one coastal megacity faces sustained flooding, global systems feel it instantly. Scale multiplies consequences. We are more exposed because we are interconnected. Glaciers are retreating. Polar ice is thinning. Oceans expand as they warm. Physics has not changed. Water still rises when ice melts. Ancient people did not have climate models. They had shorelines moving year by year. We have data, but data without adaptation is documentation of decline. Imagine 10,000 years from now, future archaeologists scanning the seabed find corroded skyscraper foundations, highways ending in submerged sediment, fragments of ports. They reconstruct our world from debris fields. They discover records showing we knew about rising seas. And they ask, why did we continue building at the edge? The civilization that vanished when the ice melted was not inferior. It was positioned at opportunity's frontier, just like us. Coastlines are engines of growth, but they are dynamic. Shorelines migrate, ice cycles oscillate, climate shifts. Human systems must remain flexible or they fracture. History is not comfort, it is calibration. The drowned plains beneath the North Sea, the submerged settlements off India, the underwater village of Atlit Yam, they are not mysteries for entertainment, they are patterns. Environmental stress, migration, innovation, redistribution, repeat. You are standing on what used to be someone else's future. Every coastal skyline rests on layers of change. Every port city is temporary. Every shoreline is negotiable. That is not doom, it is reality. If we learn from drowned civilizations, we design for movement. If we ignore them, we design for repetition. Because next time, we won't be rediscovering a lost civilization beneath the sea. We'll be the one studied. And in the next episode, we're going somewhere even more unsettling. The abandoned megastructures, the radioactive zones, the plastic sediment layers, the things future archaeologists will uncover and struggle to understand. Not because they're mysterious, but because they reveal exactly what we knew and what we chose to ignore. Future archaeologists will be terrified by these ruins. And the question is, will we be?